Officer Paul Gonzales, Coppell Police Department, and today I'm at the beautiful Coppell Art Center with Chief Danny Barton, and today we're celebrating his 3-year anniversary. Welcome, Chief Barton, and thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to sit down and visit with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to do it.
So over the course of the past 3 years, what are some of the biggest things that you faced, biggest challenges?
Probably the same challenges that most people faced. We had COVID hit in 2020. We had the George Floyd incident occur right at the beginning, really, or in the early months of COVID, which sparked, tons of anti-police demonstrations and social justice demonstrations and protests, rightly so. And then followed up with a big snowstorm in 2021 that we'd never experienced, and the PD, FD, the fire department, the public works, we were all out there just trying to, it was like riding a bull. We were just trying to stay on to get through it. And I thought the city staff did an outstanding job. But a lot of those challenges were being everywhere. The other challenge I had coming in 2018 was, how do you take a good police department and make it better? That's every chief's goal, is always to grow their department. And when we had some things going really well, and then when those challenges started to hit, it started to break down because there was so much anti-police messaging out there, and my job turned into, how do I keep these young guys who've never experienced anything like this? How do we keep them motivated? How do we keep them engaged? And how do we keep their why in front of them? Why do you come to work every day? Keep that in front of you, and everything will work out in the end.
So how do you think that you have improved things at our police department since you've come on these past 3 years?
I think some of the things we started off early was we really put a lot of emphasis and effort into our leadership. And all organizations talking about the importance of leadership, but I think we decided to take it a step further, and we got real intentional about developing our leaders. Because at the end of the day, when you have incidents happening out in the streets of your community involving your officers, it always comes back to leadership. And what we condone as a leadership team sometimes can be more detrimental than what we don't condone. And so we spent a lot of time working on the why. We kept our emotional intelligence in front of us. We just kept the messaging the same. I started off I think it was the first week. Every Sunday I put out an email called This Week, and it's a communication for the officers to know what's going on in the department, maybe in the city, but more importantly, it was a message about our culture and how to strengthen it. And we knew at the Coppell Police Department before George Floyd that policing had to change, and the culture of policing, and that's what we've been working on.
Well, and taking that a step further, what do you think are some of the biggest opportunities that we're facing just in law enforcement, both here at a local level here in Coppell and as a whole in law enforcement across the country?
Right now, there's a lot of news cycles and talking points and blogs out there talking about, the number of officers that are leaving the profession, and there's a lot of talk about reform and all these other things. I see today as the biggest opportunity for our profession. The slate is clean. The nation has spoken. They want change. We want, those of us who have worked inside this culture for decades, it's our time. And I hope that we can build these even more noble cultures to attract those people that want to be a part of the solution. And I think that's where some of the recruiting has got hung up is, and I'll just be frank with you, if you just see what you see on TV or you see on social media, who wants to be one of us if that's all you see? And so I think this is an opportunity for us to really make big strides that we probably should have made 50 years ago, but today is an opportunity for us to make those strides.
Well, you used to be a captain over recruiting, hiring, training, and now you've got even more responsibility as the chief. So, if you were looking out and you were talking to a potential applicant with our police department, what would you tell he or she about our department and about what it is that we look for and what it is that we need for our culture to flourish?
So thanks for mentioning, when I was a captain over recruiting and hiring, I went to my former chief and said, hey, I want to turn recruiting on its head. I don't want to hire the same old people we've been hiring, and I don't even want to do it the same way. And we changed our mental model to we're not looking for cops to hire, we are looking for humans, because I can teach you how to be a cop. I can teach you the technical aspects of the job, but I need the human to come in first, the person who's got heart, the person that's got soul. Those are what we're trying to attract. So in our recruiting videos, we try to get away from all those things you see, all the SWAT stuff and the helicopters and the doors getting blown open and all the things you see on TV, because that's not what we do. That is not what we do. We deal with people. And when I became the chief, I just kept that mental model going. Is look, and I've said this publicly, I don't know, many times. Is when you call 911, I don't want a police officer to show up to your house. I want a human to show up. A human who has empathy, a human who can have a better perspective, who's patient and compassionate. And that's how you attract people in, because I think those people are out there. They want to come in and they want to do those jobs. And I think if you come to Coppell, I can tell you, it's a big difference in the way we train. It's a big difference by the way we onboard our people. You don't come in, you're not the rookie. We don't tell you to close your mouth and just be seen. That's old stuff. That's old school. That stuff is old. And so as soon as you come into Coppell, you're a valued member, your voice matters, and we hope that everybody we hire makes us better. Now in the long run, what's the rose-colored glasses I have? I would love to see a police department where when you retire, after you've put in all your time, you leave a better person than when you started. That's the ultimate goal, to grow people in that manner.
And when you mentioned about the officers, it's how important it is for them to be human and to show that empathy and to identify with the citizens that we serve. What are some of the things that we do well as a department to engage? How do you see our involvement in the community, and what are some of the important programs that we have that do those very things, that reach out to the community and say, hey, join us, be a partner with us?
We've got a lot of great programs. We have National Night Out, which we crush it every year. And I think National Night Out is just a glimpse into what we have. 70, 80 block parties a year, all the officers out there interacting. It's always a huge success. We do coffee with cops. We do a prayer at the flagpole once a quarter. We do women's self-defense. We do high school self-defense. And all those programs are meant to train, so to speak, educate. We have our Citizens on Patrol. We also have the Citizens Police Academy. All those things that can bring people from the outside. Now, I know for a fact we've had people come through our Citizens Police Academy and call up later saying, hey, I've recommended my nephew or my son to apply with y'all because they know what we are. So I think those programs are great, but I think the biggest thing that in terms of engagement is our officers are always intentional about every contact they make with a citizen, whether it's face-to-face or not, is going to have an impact. And every single time that you respond to a citizen you're going to make an impact. Even if you're driving past them and they wave at you, how you wave back or whether you don't wave is going to have an impact. And those are all the little things that build trust, because it's got to be genuine. And that's what we're looking for in our officers, is people who genuinely care about what they do every day.
We both have over 20 years being a police officer, and we know that it's humbling. Every day is a humbling experience as a police officer. As chief, what are some of the lessons that you've learned over the past 3 years?
Boy, I don't think we have enough time. We have been cops a long time, Paul. When people ask me where was I on 9/11, I was having coffee with you.
Right.
And I'll never forget that. And the lessons learned that I've known or that I've learned is it all starts with culture. I mean, you can have the best policies and procedures and laws and all those things. None of that matters if the culture's not right, because you can't out-policy people's mental models. You can't out-policy the way they think. And that's, you're trying to create robots when you do that, and that's a recipe for disaster. So, when I came in, I was non-negotiable about how the culture, because our culture it's not just the Coppell Police Department's culture, it's part of the city of Coppell's culture. The city of Coppell has spent decades building a great customer service model of a culture, how we behave, how we treat the citizens, how we respond, and we're just a piece of it. And I knew that is what we had to be held accountable to, and we have held accountable for the last 3 years. And that was the number one lesson that I've learned. The other thing is know how to communicate to your people. I've had some trips there, but I learned from them, mainly internal. But words matter, and everything a chief does is being heard and listened to and repeated onward, and that's fine. I don't try to hold my tongue. I feel like I speak from the heart, and if you want to know what I feel about something, you can just ask me, and I pretty much know. But culture is probably the biggest. You've got to hold the line on culture. That's just, it can't be something you just talk about. It's got to be something you do every single day.
And so our audience, obviously, is the citizens that we serve. In closing today, what would you like to leave the citizens with?
You live in a great community. This is a unique community in many aspects. This is not just a safe community because of the police department. This is a safe community because of all the city departments. This is a safe community because of the city council that we have. This is a safe community because of the citizens we have. This is a very synergistic model to me of a city. We have a strong economic engine. We have great places of spirituality, like libraries and parks. Those things all contribute to a safe community. That's been scientifically mapped out. The police are there, but we can't do it without the citizens. And we have had great success in Coppell being in stride with our citizens. The fact that people call us for a lot of things, even the small things, leads me to believe they trust us enough to call us. It's a great community. We just need to keep working together and moving forward. Again, my hat's off. We have a great city council that supports the police department, all the city services. And so what I'd say to the citizen of Coppell is, you're living in the right town, and I feel like I'm working in the right town. So
awesome.
It's a great town.
Well, congratulations on your 3-year anniversary, and hopefully we'll have many more ahead of us.
Yes, sir. I hope it's not the same 3 we just had, but it feels like I've been in a blink. It's gone by so fast, and I really appreciate everything the city has done for me and the way they welcomed me and supported us. And you know, I'm not, I don't know the word, but the success of the PD is because of who we've hired and who we have. It's not me. It's those guys and girls that go out every single day and they do their job and they do it with heart. And that's all I can ask of them. And we got to hold ourselves accountable to that. But it's been a great ride. I appreciate everything. Thanks for having me here. And I look forward to the next 3.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.